The first decorated Christmas tree was registered in this country. In addition, local people celebrate two Christmases. Well, most probably you already guessed what country I'm talking about from the name of this video and the cover of this video, but again, I'll be talking about Latvia. I've lived in Latvia for more than 3 years, and I could definitely say that two most favorite holidays for local people, those are Christmas and for another part New Year and Ligo. Since it's winter season, of course, I'll be talking about winter holidays. Latvian Christmas, or Ziemassvētkos, falls on the darkest night of the year, and its celebration is deeply rooted in Baltic pagan traditions.
Hi Anna, I'm very happy to be here today and talk about Latvian Christmas. Interesting thing about Latvian Christmas is that we still take a lot of traditions from the pagan culture that we had a very long time ago. So Latvians used to be pagans, we used to celebrate the gods of nature. We didn't call it Christmas because Christmas is more of a Christian celebration. We used to have the celebration of the winter solstice, which was the longest night of the year, and that is when everything that you had gathered throughout the summer and also in autumn, all the harvest that you have pickled, that you would serve on your table and spend this night, the longest night, with your friends and family. There's a lot of traditions that we don't have anymore, but in the past, one of the main things that we used to do and the main decorations that we actually had was creating these decorations from potatoes and different kinds of wheat and other dried plants that you could find. So you could take a potato and stick little wheats inside and then hang it on your ceiling. Or you can also take and make different kinds of star shapes or other Christmas decorations. So usually the decorations were made from dried plants that you could find or you gathered in the summer.
Let's get back to the part with the first decorated Christmas tree. You might heard on the internet, or I don't know, in any other sources, that the first country that used the Christmas tree as a decoration for the winter holiday was Germany. However, that is not true because Riga, the capital of Latvia, is the birthplace of the decorated Christmas tree, according to some historical notes. And this Christmas tree was first mentioned in the notes at the beginning of the 16th century in 1510. And the pointed marker on the town hall square is still a reminder of this historic event that is linking past with present.
In the past, Latvians didn't take the tree inside of the house as we are used to now. Usually it was that you decorate the Christmas tree outside, like in your garden or in the forest, with different kinds of vegetables or, something that would later on compost in the nature. Or for example, something that also animals could snack on, and then you kind of celebrate the forever green tree that symbolizes the forever green life and the life cycle and never dies. So then of course you would prepare a table. Usually they served a grey peas with ham and onions. That is also a very traditional dish. It's actually one of the most traditional dishes still considered in Latvia. And then I think you would also serve fish. I think one of the interesting things that you serve is the pig's snot. Basically everything that you grow, like potatoes, carrots, you would serve in some kind of form.
One of the symbols of Christmas throughout Europe is, of course, a log. In different European countries nowadays, this log is represented in different forms.
One of the two traditions that people used to participate in, let's say, in the past were the rolling of the log. I have never done this and I don't know anyone who has done it, but in the past it was a tradition to take a log and tie it with rope and then just drag it from house to house, kind of symbolizing the way the sun rolls, and roll it from house to house, and at the last house that you visit you should burn it. It was supposed to symbolize the way of the sun, and also it could symbolize that you kind of gather all the bad and negative energy from each house, and then at the last house you just burn it, so the new year kind of starts with fresh and positive energy. The other one was that Latvian people used to go, like now how people do Halloween, Latvian people used to do it for Christmas, for the for the winter solstice. So you dress up, you go from house to house, you do a little performance, maybe you dance, maybe you sing, maybe you do some kind of performance, and then people give you food, and then you go from house to house. In a similar way that Halloween is celebrated now, we used to celebrate the winter solstice.
This tradition is really similar to what I told you in my previous video about my culture, as well as in Russia, in Latvia, people do not really follow this custom anymore. Of course, we cannot help mentioning Latvian Santa Claus. His name is Ziemassvētku vecītis. Really excuse my pronunciation because I learned Latvian like 2 years ago, and my pronunciation is not like the best and my strongest skill in all the languages. I'm really sorry. So there Santa Claus is residing in Ziemu. The biggest party with the Santa Claus is taking place in the old town of Riga, where there is a lot of dancing, which adds really heartwarming vibes to the celebration. If you look at map, you will see that the biggest part of Latvia is forest, and local people love forest. And no matter how far in the forest you are, you will always meet a local person who is just casually walking in the forest. I think with this one fact, you can describe all local people, which is so funny. So you can imagine that for this winter holiday season, of course, the main decoration is inspired by nature. Since superstitions and beliefs surround this holiday, of course, Latvians could not live without this fortune or future telling. Here I have 2 examples. So the first thing is counting stars. This is how you can predict whether the harvest will be good, but I think that with a little bit of imagination you can predict anything from looking at the stars. I'm quite skeptical about those things. Another interesting thing is that in Latvia, carrying black cats is for good luck, and this was such a surprise for me because in my culture, if you see a black cat crossing the road, it's always a bad luck, and you cannot cross the same part of the road where the black cat was. And if you really need to, and there is no other choice, you need to hold your button somewhere, I don't know if you have any button, to cross this part of the road, nothing happens. I mean, that's so stupid, but I mean, like, when majority of country's population is superstitious, this is just what we do, even if we realize that it sounds quite silly. So I think that's enough with some old traditions. Let's see what Latvians do nowadays.
For example, in my family, we still decorate the Christmas tree the similar way as a huge chunk of the world does, prepare gifts for each other. Usually in my family, we celebrate it in a smaller circle on the 24th of December, and then that's also when we receive the gifts. In my family, we have a special tradition because since there's a few of us, we are many kids in the family, I guess, and my youngest brother, he is 10 years younger than I am, so we still for a very long time try to convince him that there's a magical Christmas figure that brings presents, and that's why after the dinner we used to go to the Christmas market in the Riga center, which is actually one of the most beautiful markets I've seen, and I've seen a lot of very nice markets, but the Riga market has always been very special to me because after the dinner we go to the market, we buy caramelized apples, maybe some almonds, maybe some kind of sauerkraut or potatoes, more food, and then we come back and wow, the gifts are there. So this is one of the things we do, and the other thing that we used to do is that we used to go to the forest with some carrots, some potatoes, and leave them under a Christmas tree. And our parents taught us that this is the present for the rabbits and other animals that maybe are struggling to find some food when there's a lot of snow. Because most of the time there's a lot of snow in Latvia when the Christmas time comes. Not for the past few years, but back in the day when I was younger, we used to do it like that. Then you receive presents, and the things that we serve on the table, we serve usually the peas, because we really still follow this tradition. So the grey peas with ham and onion. My parents really like the pig snot. Often we serve the whole pig's head on the table, which is interesting, especially for the time when I was vegetarian. That was a very good time. So it's just, if you like meat, I definitely would suggest you to try it. It's pretty good. And then we serve different kinds of salads. I think the cold salads is a very important part of the meal of every celebration. We like the potato salad, our way of potato salad, which is called rosols, very important. Then also we like different kinds of cheese, salads with cheese, salads with beets. Very simple salad actually, just pickled beets, sour cream, and some salt. Amazing, great time. And maybe some garlic. Great time. That's one of my favorite salads, I think, that we serve. Yeah, some bread, definitely. Yeah, maybe some drinks, some water, some beer, you know, whatever everyone prefers. So nothing very specific for us. And yeah, I would say that's how most of the Latvian people celebrate, definitely having the big table.
Usually on those Christmas days, there are days off, and some grocery stores might have like a short working day or might not work at all. But as soon as the new year comes, all youngsters come back to their, I don't know, apartments or dormitories. These holidays usually spent with friends, and when I lived in the dorms in Latvia, all the students were back to the dorms by the new year, and on the New Year Day, New Year Eve, there was so much noise everywhere, music playing, everyone was baking those piparkūkas, which is another important dish for Latvian Christmas and apparently Latvian New Year. Piparkūkas, those are gingerbreads, however in Latvian recipe they also add some black pepper that adds this unusual taste to these cookies.
When Latvia was part of the USSR, I was not here. But according to my parents, and of course if you're also familiar with history, Christmas as a Christian celebration was not celebrated in general in the whole Soviet Union. So mostly New Year's was celebrated, and then I guess it was celebrated in a similar way that Russia still celebrates it. But yeah, I was not here, but Christmas traditions, the ones that we have now or Latvians used to have in the past, were not very much celebrated, but still people prepared grey peas and the traditional foods for New Year's. So basically just copy-pasting everything that they used to do for Christmas, copy-pasting for New Year's. Still incorporating the traditions and trying to maintain them throughout this time, but just on a different day.
What about the second Christmas? There is a big number of people who immigrated to Latvia during this era. Some immigrants from Russia, Ukraine, Belarus and other post-Soviet countries. Their main celebration is usually New Year, and then on January the 7th, some of them celebrate Christmas. You can imagine that people with mixed families, they have a very long winter holiday season, however the days off are not so many. So that was it for me about Latvian winter holiday season.
Merry Christmas, or how in Latvian we say, Priecīgus Ziemassvētkus.